Namaskaram. Welcome to all the devotees. We are here with Swami Viditatmananda from Arsha Vidya Gurukulam, Poconos Mountain in Pennsylvania, Salisbury in USA. So they are celebrating 37 years of anniversary of establishing this ashram here. So we would like to take this opportunity to congratulate Swamiji on the 37th year's anniversary. Congratulations, Swamiji, for 37 years anniversary.
Thank you.
And it's a wonderful journey, 37 years here.
Yes.
We have been also coming here almost a decade here.
Mm-hmm.
It's a wonderful place to be, and it's very inviting and very knowledgeable place where we get a lot of knowledge. So thank you so much for giving this to the society.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I would request you to tell something about the ashram and the purpose of establishing this ashram and what we are giving to the devotees and what the devotees will be getting by coming to the ashram.
This is institute is called Arsha Vidya Gurukulam. Gurukulam traditionally means the home of the guru or the teacher, because in the ancient times, in the Vedic times, the students would go and live with the teacher and study from the teacher. They were resident students. So Kulam means a home. Gurukulam, the home of the guru, where the students would live and study. So that was the spirit of establishing this institute for Arsha Vidya Gurukulam. So Gurukulam means the place of the guru, the home of the guru, where the students or the aspirants can come and stay and learn. What would they learn? Vidya. Vidya means knowledge. What kind of knowledge? Arsha Vidya. So Arsha is a word derived from the word Rushi. Rushi means our sages. Arsha means the knowledge imparted by the sages, or knowledge coming from the sages. And basically, all the knowledge of Veda is from the sages. So Vedas are from the sages, and a whole body of knowledge based on that also is called knowledge from the sages. So Arsha Vidya. So here in this institution, what we disseminate in terms of knowledge is knowledge of the scriptures called Vedanta, which is knowledge about Ishvara, God, about the self, about the universe, about reality of life. Why should we learn this? Because there are lots of misconceptions in our mind about our own self, about what the world is, about what God is, and we are living life based on these misconceptions. And that's the reason why there is so much conflict and sorrow in life. If the basis changes, if our concepts change, then what we do also will change, the way we relate also will change, and life will become happy and successful. So basic purpose of imparting the knowledge is so that people can live a meaningful, happy and successful life. That's what everybody wants. And for that, we impart the teaching of what is the reality of yourself, the world, of God, and how to relate, what are the values, what is karma yoga, how to perform your duties, how to relate to the people, how to pray, how to contemplate. It's a very practical knowledge, how to live life.
So you're talking about imparting knowledge to the students. What age would be a right age for anybody to learn the religious teachings and how they could practice that in one's life to make themselves better?
We address different age groups, from children to adults, to teenagers, young adults and adults and old people, the whole range. For children and others, we have separate classes, where our emphasis is to, number one, with young children, we give them the idea of our basic culture like Ramayana, Bhagavatam, etc., tell them stories and moral to be learned from their stories. To the grown-up children, we teach them the values of life, like truthfulness, honesty. Why should we practice those values? What do we stand to gain? And then when the situations come, how to make choices so that we live in the right way. So to them we'll teach how to live their life in the right way, how to relate also properly. Then to elders who are now ready to learn something more, we communicate now more profound knowledge of what's the nature of God, Ishvara, what is His place in our life, what's the nature of ourselves, who we are really, what's the nature of the world. Why is it necessary to know? Because they say, more right our concepts are, more right our values are, more right our life is. So learning our basics about the life so that it becomes the basis of living our life.
The modern days life, like everybody is racing against competition, running against success, and especially students, like young children, have so much to do in between their education, in the school education, like after school classes and so many other activities. So what is the message to those parents that those wants their children to get involved in so many activities in one single time?
A good question will be, are those activities for children or are those activities for parents? Parents feel my child is doing this and my child is doing that, and they derive some kind of a pride from what the child does. Then we are forcing a lot of things upon the child. Activities which you feel that are very conducive for the growth of the child, his physical growth or the emotional growth. And in reasonable measure, we can have those activities, not like crazy morning till evening from one day to the other and one class to the other class. At the same time, it is necessary that child grows, there is scope to grow physically, emotionally, intellectually grows in school and colleges, but physical growth and emotional growth mainly is what is important that we can contribute as parents. And that should be kept in mind, not just racing or competing against. See, competition is meaningless. I'll tell you why. Just because I compete with you, so what does it mean? What I should be committed to is do the best I can. Sometimes they say you compete with yourself, meaning you seek to do better than what you did. You cannot do better than somebody else because that somebody else is a different person. So this competition is a meaningless thing, and it is only putting unnecessary, because competition means I must do better than the other person. Now, the real value should be I should do well, not better. Well, I should do well, and I should have value for improving and doing better and better for myself. Then I have the incentive to, but if I am competing with, I am always comparing myself with others, a lot of complexes are created because of comparison. So therefore this competition, meaning that I am forcing myself to be like somebody else. I want to be somebody else. That's what competition means. It doesn't help in any way. If anything, it hurts. We don't have to be somebody else. Bhagavan has made us what we are, and we have to cultivate what most we have and what will give me most satisfaction. That's what even parents also should know. They do not have to derive pride from what more the child did. That they are helping the child to grow. Every child is unique, and help them to grow.
Yeah, in this competitive world again, so everybody wants their children to be closer to the 100, right? In the schools, they want them to be scoring, like if they get 95, they want 97, they have 97, why can't you get 100 marks? So much of pressure on the kids. Parents also take the pressure. Apart from the education, there are other classes like karate class and yoga classes and
music classes, dancing classes, piano classes, etc.
Piano classes, music classes, all this thing. So what is the message for that situation separately for the students, for the children, and separately for the parents?
To some extent, we can understand the concern of the parents. Again, because they want their child to go to the best school. They want the child to become successful doctor or an attorney or an engineer and then not only just engineer, best doctor, which is your ambition, we should not thrust that upon the child. For child, we should provide an atmosphere for the child to grow and do the best the child can do, not like somebody else. So that you want that your child should become a doctor, is it for yourself or is it for the child? The ambition that the parents are entertaining is for what purpose? Not that we do not want the child to do the best. At the same time, not because I want my child to be doctor, so I keep on pressurizing, that also may or may not be right. And so many children get damaged in that process. Yeah. Because too much expectation from the parents.
How do a parent can identify the potential of the kid? In terms of, you said like every child is unique by nature or by the birth. They have some qualities, they were born qualities. So when and how a parent can realize, identify and make them get into that areas of their liking?
See, fortunately in a country like United States, in every school there are counselors, and they are there also to counsel and advise children, parents, etc. in case we have difficulty in determining what our child would best do. And so always communicate with the child, understand what the child wants also, and accordingly frame your ambitions, Don't thrust your ambitions upon the child. At the same time, whatever best potential child has, give an opportunity if you can. And you can seek help with the counselors and others also. But then the goal is that my child should grow to the best of the potential, not become an attorney, not become such and such. That is potential, You grow to the potential. And so I think Americans are less, hung up about this than Indians are. They don't mind the child becomes a teacher, becomes a sitar player or violin player or something like that.
Anything in the arts, they are fine with that,
Yeah, it's not, you don't measure everything by income. Well, Indians we do, but...
So what is the same message for the parents in India? It's the same situation when we transfer there. So there will have some people who will be watching your today's thing in India as well, and globally. So we just want to message for other people living in other countries.
Surely.
Yeah.
Maybe situations in India are different from what they are in the United States. And the opportunities available there also are different, because even the schools, many schools don't have playgrounds. Many schools have no facilities for teaching, sports, etc. So depending upon, and even they can afford, cannot afford, whether there is some cricket, if they want to teach the child, whether coaching is available. There are so many limitations we have in India. And within the framework of the limitations, you can do the best you can do, but the opportunities are much fewer in India than there in the United States. Every school here is a playground, essentially.
Yes.
And they have a sports program, and they teach soccer, and they teach basketball, and at different age groups and so forth. We may not have a soccer ground and a basketball court and stuff like that. Sports is not a very important aspect in India anyway, because we are not very athletic people. But it is an important aspect that the child should be physically also active. And so we used to run around the street and that's all, We didn't even have a cricket bat or nothing like that. The situation is much better now, but...
I was coming to that. So in those days when we were young and children at that time, so we had a lot of opportunity to play outside the house, like outdoor activities, including maybe playgrounds or maybe in the school or any other activities area in the stadium and other places. But nowadays, a lot of children have been confined to the homes because of security, and now because of pandemic, recent past. So everything is online and it's a studying, homeschooling. So what will be the impact on the mind of a child with so much of indoor, confined indoor activities, yeah, situation.
And one thing also we can add to what you say is the social media and children's their engagement with social media, Facebook, and I don't even know how many things there are, but so that is what is also coming in the way of children socializing or going out and playing, etc. That also is a big problem. And I don't know how much control parents have over the children. Sometimes parents give a cell phone to the child so that you don't have to bother about the child and so on and so forth. But you're right. Even if you don't have playground, there is always a neighborhood, and then you can always run around and not, even if you don't have formal games like basketball, you can always jump up and down and kabaddi and this and that. Simple games, you can always play, in that way enjoy an outdoor life at the same time. Health, the physical growth should be there.
Yeah, because nowadays, because of the security and also not letting children outside because of various reasons, so most of the parents are...
It's in the US.
Yeah.
That's in the US.
Yes.
But here there are many also secure places like the schools, school grounds, I don't know, in community also, community centers are there, gyms are there, various facilities are there, and the parents can afford. And so if the outside is not secure, there are secure spaces created by the society, and the children can be encouraged to use those spaces and not stay all the time with the
electronics.
Yeah.
With all these things, if the parents at home, they're also in the corporate world, you know how the corporate world, even it could be in America or in India, it's so competitive. So parents are also stressed up with their work, and they have to take care of the children, running around between the different classes to the children. So how do they control their stress and do all these things? What are some message for them to slow down or something? Should we really slow down on some of the activities, or should we keep and do other things where the parents also could have a little bit life for themselves and for the children as well?
One of the things is to keep our ambitions under control, under limits. We always compare ourselves with others, and we want to be like others, and therefore we drive ourselves to make more and more money, and therefore we deprive ourselves of other activities and other growth and other opportunities. So money is important, but it's not all important. So I think parents also should look at their own self, and do they have to be driven so much that it is true that if you are in the corporate world, your employer itself demands you to have minimum performance. But apart from that, people drive themselves because of their own personal ambitions. A lot of comparisons in the society, want to have a certain status and stuff like that, status symbol, etc. If it comes to you easy, do that, but you can't drive yourself and stress yourself out. That's all I can say.
In continuation to the question, the answer is saying, the common thing everybody says, oh, I don't have time. That's a normal thing in one's life. Oh, I'm stressed out, I have to do this, I have to do that. Too many things to do that. I have my office work, I have my home work at home, I need to do this cleaning, cooking, and all those things. And with all these things, how one could make time for themselves, for personal well-being of an individual.
I appreciate that. I think a certain amount of time management also would help them. And it's a matter of a value. If you have value for your physical well-being, and meaning there's some exercise, some yoga, something like that every day, value for emotional well-being in terms of some prayers, they can be included in the, you can cut down on some other activities, and like watching TV and going to bed too late and not being able to wake up in the morning. it might be possible, but it's a matter of priorities. What happens is that we allow our mind just to take it easy, and so escape activities are there, and so important activities suffer. That is true. It's a matter of priority.
Yeah, you're talking about time management and controlling of the mind to focus towards what we need to do in a day. So how do one can control their mind when it is running around so many activities at a time?
Well, sit down quietly and first of all take a stock of what all you are required to do, and is it a reasonable expectation for your own self that you can do all this? What is the time and the other energy requirement for those activities? Just sit down and plan somewhat, and maybe you can cut down a few things which are less important, so that you can deal with, cope with what is possible, what is the best, or what is most important.
Everybody feels like there's something unfair happening to individual in life. They do not realize like what is unfair, what is the fair. So what's the difference between, do we draw the lines between the fair and unfair things happening in one's life?
Everybody's life is individual. There cannot be a general rule about their life. And fair and unfair also is perhaps our own expectations and our demands, and we feel that if our demands are not met with, then the world is unfair to me, and if they are met with, they are fair to me. So whether my conclusion that the world is unfair is because am I expecting too much? I should ask that. When we were children, we were told, deserve before you desire. So, are my expectations, reasonable, or am I chasing something for what reason? So we have to be, not that we should not be ambitious or hardworking, but then no point in just being driven like a ghost, that somebody is after me. Don't have to compare yourself with others. Don't try to be somebody else.
We are all running for tomorrow. For example, like you're talking about children, that you're talking about tomorrow, what your child is going to become. And if you're talking about oneself, what they're going to be tomorrow. Like always we talk about the future. When we forget the present day, and we are losing so much in life, I think we're losing that. Just always think about the future, not think about the present, not leave the present. So you can just elaborate on that aspect of that, how we could come over this.
We cannot think about much about future but all we can do is that at least we live life rightfully. There should be righteousness in our life. Dharma means some values in our life. Then we will get some satisfaction. That if you live life, as I said, let there be in your life some little giving, some contribution, not all consumption. The satisfaction comes not from entertainment as it comes from within yourself. So have something in your life also where you can draw satisfaction from yourself by doing something out of kindness, out of the spirit of helpfulness, sharing, let this also become part of your life to whatever extent you can, and that will give you satisfaction. Not chasing one thing after the other. We have to chase, I don't know, but this is something we can also introduce in our life.
In this environment, there's a lot of situations where this demotivations happen. They get demotivated because of not achieving something, or things are not happening in the way that we planned and we want. So there's always sadness there. How do we keep ourselves motivated, though in case we won't achieve that, but we know that future we could achieve that or postpone the achievements? How we can keep ourselves motivated all the time?
That may be difficult, but in general, the sadness also comes not because I did not get what I wanted. Sadness comes because I hold myself responsible for failures or what I did not get. I take the responsibility because something did not happen. It did not happen. If you don't, it is self-judgment that makes me sad, not a given happening. Suppose you did something and it did not succeed, it is a failure. So there was an effort and there is a failed outcome. That doesn't make you sad. When you say, I failed, you follow, see the difference? Then you become sad. I failed. This effort failed. Effort did not succeed. Then you're okay. But I made effort, that is also all right. But I failed. You don't have to impose that upon yourself, because you did what best you can do. Learn from that. If you did not get what you wanted, learn from that and see what better you can do next time.
Yeah.
This sadness coming from failure is just is because we have not given a little thought to why am I sad. That I take responsibility. There are two things. There is something in my control, other things not in my control. Outcome is not in my control, I can't take responsibility. Effort is in my control, I should take responsibility. And if the stress is there because of effort, I can understand.
Yeah.
Mainly stress comes because of outcome.
So how do we detach from that commitments of taking the stress, saying that this did not happen? Because when we achieve something, we find it so much of happiness and we celebrate that. We feel so much
Proud
about it and pride about that we got it done. But why can't we take it sportively, the failure, what you said, not non-achievement of it?
If success is taken sportively, then only failure can be taken. Yes. If success, I realize that it was Bhagavan's grace, that I was blessed, yes. I enjoyed grace and privilege, therefore if I take all the credit for success, I will have to take credit for failure. But when I realize that there are many factors that help me in success, I am not the only one, then I am grateful. A sense of gratitude will help me to deal with failures also.
Yeah, not many people realize or say that's a gratitude or the blessings from the God. They say it's just my, let me put it another way. If there is a success, they say, I did it, I was so successful. If there is failure, they say, God did not do this for me. When the failure comes, the God comes. When the success comes, its individual comes.
Yes. But that is all right. Analyze the success.
Yeah. God's blessing, there's two different
it doesn't matter God.
Yeah.
Just analyze, let us be practical. Analyze the success. So what all contributed to my success? At least take that into account. I'll find that there are many things happened where I was fortunate. Even in success also, I was not the only factor. Help came. I was fortunate that things happened in a certain way, that I got the right idea, right this, that, and then. So you will find that even if you don't bring Ishvara or Bhagavan in that, you find that you have been helped. You have been lucky, put it this way. So that luck also has worked in you, in your case, and so some gratitude. If there is a person has gratitude, then failure will be easier to accept. If there is arrogance of success, failure becomes very difficult.
In general, a lot of people believe in God, and this is a really sensitive question. So many people, they say they don't believe in God. How do each of them, when they are communicating, how do they have to take that situations? When somebody is arguing there is no God, somebody says there is a God, there is superpower which is making it happen, everything. So there are two different groups. In case the two groups are communicating to each other, so how would they take the situation?
Personally, I would not want to impose my ideas on others. He doesn't believe in God, that's all right.
Yeah.
As long as he is comfortable with his belief system, so long it's okay. If the need will come, he will think about the role of God in his life. So if he doesn't believe in God, God bless him. Why should I have to convince him that there is God or there is no God? We don't have to.
We have many temples, and thousands of years in our culture and the history, we believe in God, and we have seen there are temples, many temples built from ancient times to the recent times as well. What is the message to the people that they need to come to the temple and pray rather than praying remotely or anything? Because if some people say, I pray at home, I don't have to go to the temple. Because there we do, like, we have the statue, we have prana pratishtha, we do everything. Then we pray there, thinking that there is a God there. We have invited, and it's there in the temple. That's what the belief is for us. The temple is. So
it's all your need. Yes. If you see the need of going to temple, you will go. Otherwise, you won't go. So we don't have to convince somebody.
It's not for convincing. It's for generally
for you, we can say. For me, I can say that yes. If I realize that that there is so much grace and help I have been getting, and that there is something called Ishvara who has been blessing me or helping me, it's my duty to express my gratitude on prayers, and it's my pleasure to pray. Then I'll go to temple. Because if going to temple doesn't do anything to you, stop going. Sometimes you just keep telling your child, what's the use of going there? He goes and stands there and comes back with no effect. If there is some effect, then there is a point in going there. Or you keep going, someday it will come and there will be some effect also. But it's a matter of experience also. We can't thrust things upon people.
Yoga is something going viral globally. And we have a yoga day also that's been celebrated. And a lot of people are getting into yoga. So we believe that yoga started in India way back, thousands of years back. There are some people, new people who have got into this practice. They say it does not belong to India or anything. So what exactly, where does yoga took birth?
Wherever it began, you take advantage of it, No,
we just want to know where
it's very well known that we have Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, which are very ancient. We have the Hatha Yoga, Pradipika, all the sciences are of yoga there in India. They are all in Sanskrit, lots of commentaries and explanations, and lots of the saints and sages who perform, and you can go to India, you will see in many yoga places, hundreds of asanas, for somebody to believe that yoga belongs to Christianity, God bless you. I don't know if that gives us satisfaction, but yoga should give satisfaction by practicing it, not belief system.
Because you also teach yoga in
Yes,
Arsha.
we do. Yes.
So
yes.
The
yoga and Sanskrit also is part of it.
Yeah.
Main teaching is Vedanta Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita, but yes, yoga also. We have yoga teacher here, yoga retreats, yoga classes also. And Sanskrit also we teach.
So with this modern days, as we're talking about running both the parents and children or everybody in life, that is not just categorized in any of the thing. So everybody's running against something or the other for the success and in this world. Midst of this, we all who have come from India or some other country, we are here, come here chasing of success. So there's a time that we have forgotten the time for the parents.
I don't know. The people who I know, they seem to...
Many times happens, it's like we are going like against work. There's the old people, old women, the parents who have grown up there, so they feel they wanted their children to go abroad and be successful. Now they feel that there will be nobody's there to take care of that. So what's your say towards that, for that situation?
This is a practical situation. I've seen many people very sensitive about the needs of the parents, and they try to do the best they can to seek some help for the parents, visit them as often as they can, call the parents there to take care of them, and but it is a difficult situation. Because parents may or may not be very comfortable, in other country and other culture. So it is a situation that this society has solved that problem by creating institutions, centers for the old people, taking care of them. The old people also are prepared. Our parents still want to live with children, etc. That is the psychology that we have. And some children also want the parent, but some is not practical sometimes. So we have to accept the situation. What can we say?
Thank you so much for taking your time. So we just want your message to the devotees, and we can conclude by that.
In this discussion, a lot of messages are given. But if you see, if you remember, one of our Swamijis talked about Hindu Dharma. The Hindus, of course, the audience may be all, mixed audiences.
Yes.
But what it is that the Hindus have to be conscious about not just practicing it themselves, but recognizing the need to protect the tradition, because the tradition is under attack from various sources. When I say that, I know there are people who will say that this is a fundamentalist or something like that, misguiding people. But no, we feel that the tradition needs to be protected, and not merely by practicing Hinduism yourself, but be conscious about the tradition, conscious about many forces which seem to have an agenda of somehow, damaging, wiping out the Hinduism. Maybe I am going to one extreme, but that is true. A lot of miseducation about Hinduism, and also our Puja Swamiji used to say, we are all neutralized Hindus, so-called Hindus. But nothing about Hinduism, we don't know anything about Hinduism, we have no idea about it. So at least we should educate ourselves about what the Dharma is, what the basic practices are, what the tradition is. We should know, have a certain amount of awareness, hopefully pride, and recognize that this is a very valuable thing for the posterity also, and it needs to be protected. And protection is two ways: number one, by practicing; number two, by also countering systematic attacks that are there at various levels. Not only level of conversion, not only level of the false propaganda, etc., but other kind of attacks on the scriptures and interpretations, and ridiculing a lot of things, and very systematic things that are going on in maybe in the Western intellectual circles and whatnot. There is an agenda. Looks like there is an agenda of attacking or damaging Hindu religion, Hindus. That is what people like me feel. So all I can say is that we don't have to attack, we have to be aware, and let us educate ourselves about Hinduism. There are sources available. Let us educate, be aware, and see what best. I don't mean you to be a religious person, but you have to know what is Hinduism, what is Bhagavad Gita, what principles are there, and how you can live the life in those principles. Being spiritual is one thing, religious is another thing. You said at least spiritual, but every religion has two aspects: spirituality and religiosity. So rituals and things we call religious practices, but values and other things are all spirituality. So we should be aware of that. Let that they reflect in our life, and importance of protecting that heritage, so that the next generation also gets it. That there are right interpretations available. Because with wrong interpretations, you lose people also, because they will be disheartened, or they will go away from this, you see. So all I am saying is we should educate ourselves, and hopefully spread the education in wherever we can.
So we will again meet you, Swamiji, whenever you are free, so we can enlighten us with more. Talking about more questions and more about religious.
Sure, very good. It was a pleasure talking to you. Yes.
For all the viewers, thank you for watching, and keep watching us for your spiritual awakenings. And we'll bring our Swamiji again to our show with many questions and a lot of intellectual messages for us. Thank you, Swamiji.